Hi and welcome. I want to thank you for taking the time and watching my video. We will be painting my nephew Lucas today. First, I'm going to go ahead and start off and tell you the basics, the essentials we will need for our painting. It is very important to have an apron before we begin. That way we can wear it and not get dirty and damage all our clothing. I've damaged quite a bit of clothing that way by not wearing an apron. So please wear your apron, that way you don't damage your clothing. Make sure it's a big apron that can go around you, or a smock, whatever you'd like. That way, as I mentioned before, you don't ruin your clothing the way I did when I first started painting. Another essential that I have is a Masterson container. And what it does, it keeps my paint and gives them a little bit of longer life. What it is, it's a container, as I mentioned earlier. Your palette fits in here perfectly, and you can get them at your local art supply store. And some people put their oils with water so that way it keeps their oils moist. If you do so, I don't know if it can get messy or not. I don't. I just put it in here, and I seal it every time I'm done painting. And as you can see, it's got a very, very, very good sealer. The lid seals perfectly. Now we go all the way around it and look at it to make sure it seals properly. What I also do is, if you looked at my palette, let's open it again. I have a base. It's colored, and when I do start painting, I do the same thing with the canvas, and I color it at a value 5. A value 5 is just simply how dark it is. That's what values are. It's a change of the darkness of a certain paint, and you're able to see values better at a black and white painting. This is a value scale. And if you look at the value scale, it starts off with the number 1 being the darkest and the number 10 being the lightest. So this being black and this being white. We will try to tone our value or our canvas at a value 5 right here. That's where we're going to try to get our canvas and our palette to be at this color. Why should we do that? Well, if you notice, most palettes are either clear or they're made out of wood. So therefore, it's already a different color than your white canvas. So when you apply your paint on the palette, it's going to appear a certain color. And it's always going to appear darker than the white canvas. So that way we don't get tricked with the paint, it appearing darker in certain sections. What we do is we tone the canvas and we tone the palette at the same value. It doesn't matter what color it is, as long as it's the same value. And you're able to see values when you squint your eyes. That's how you're able to see values. Or you can get a value finder, and it's this color. See? It's red, and it takes away the color. And I'm going to show you how it does that. You see my little nephew painting right here that we did. This was his painting. Now, when I put the value finder, it's going to take away the color. Therefore, all you're going to see is the black and white. See? There's my nephew. I want to make sure you get a good look at my nephew. Let's see. There he is, right? Let's do it this way. There we go. There's my nephew. There's the value. Can you kind of see how it takes away the color? This is our value finder. And so therefore we're going to try to keep everything at the same value. This is my nephew, of course. This is the painting we're going to be doing. This of my little nephew, Lucas. This is going to be the end result. And for those of you that don't want to sit there and see the tutorial, you're welcome to do the speed paint and just watch it. I've been asked by one of my subscribers, Jessica, to go ahead and do a tutorial, and I'm more than happy. Jessica, I want to thank you for your patience. I know you asked me in the summer. I do apologize I wasn't able to do it. I've gotten quite sick this summer, and therefore I'm finally well enough to start again. I also have a stable easel, and you can see my easel. It's actually an H-frame. I paid about $60 for it at my local Hobby Lobby with the 40% off coupon. And since we're on our feet a lot, I went ahead and bought the cushioned mats. You can use them for your gym. It's the same mat you use at your gym. And I use it so that way my knees don't hurt or my feet don't hurt from standing up a lot. And you can see a shoe box right there. And I use that shoe box to stabilize the camera. I have a, let me show you in the mirror. What I have is this. I can't think at the moment what it's called, but this stabilizes your camera, okay? And I bought that off eBay for like $9. Okay. Let me go ahead and put this on here. And all he did was cut some wood, drill some holes. That way I can put on my paintbrushes. And what type of paintbrush you want to use is strictly up to you. I have very soft ones. I have bristle ones. You can see the bristle ones. Eventually your collection will grow. I have my color wheels, so that way I'm able to choose whatever color I'd like and make sure that it's cohesive and it balances the painting and it's pleasing with the painting. I will also let you know that how I thin my paint is by using one part linseed oil and 1 part turpentine to make my paint thinner. Make sure that when you do use your turpentine that it's for paint. I use the Master Sun one, and it's strictly for artists. You don't want to use the commercial type because that's too strict, or actually it's too harsh for your paintbrushes, and it's going to destroy your paintbrushes. And it takes a while to build up your paintbrush collection, and I would hate for you to ruin them that way. So this is what I use. I keep it in this container that I bought made out of steel. It has a clamp to fit into my palette, and I keep it in here. It seals it, and that's what I use as a paint thinner. And you can actually thin your paint, the oil paint, as thin as watercolors. So however thin you want it, the more you apply. Some people use turpentine, and that's what we're going to use when we use our raw sienna. Let me make sure it's raw sienna. It's actually, I apologize, it's burnt sienna with turpentine, and we mix that in this container. And the more turpentine you add, the thinner your wash will be, so that way we can apply a wash over a canvas to give us a value 5, so that way the paint doesn't play tricks on us when we're applying it on the canvas. What I also keep my turpentine is in a turpentine container. I put it in here, and of course it has a top and a lid, and it seals it, and it's got a little divider. What will start happening is your paint will start sinking to the bottom, and every time you wash your paintbrush, this little divider will sink the paint into the bottom and keep the turpentine paint clean for you on the top, so that way you're able to clean your brush and not mix it with the oils on there. This is a little good investment. You're welcome to start off with a glass container and then move on to here. I always use my 40% off at my Hobby Lobby. If you have a Michaels, they also do the same thing. And use those coupons because these paints are expensive. I also use the Blair Varnish, so when we're done with our painting, I use the Blair Varnish, and I like the matte for some reason. Eventually, you're welcome to try all the varnishes you would like to try out. Eventually, you'll come to one that you like, and for some reason, I like the matte version. Once my painting is completely dry, it can take up to 6 months. You apply the varnish, and you will protect your painting that way. Don't make the same mistake I did one time where I applied the varnish too soon and it eventually eats your paint. It removes the paint. So I did a big painting and at the end it ruined it because it ate some of that paint. The paints that I use are Jordan oil paints or Winsor Newton paints. These are my favorite. As I mentioned before, you're welcome to try out any paints until you come up with the one that you like the most. Paintbrushes, it goes the same way. You can use a flat one, round sable brush, whatever you like. Same thing with the consistency. You can use sable. You can use, any other types of brushes. You will soon find out what you like the best. So whatever you end up choosing, there's no right or wrong way to go. I'm going to use soft brushes, and the reason I'm going to use soft brushes at this time is because we're going to work with my nephew. Him being a baby, you're going to want to create that softness in his face. Sometimes I use the harsher brushes for my ballerinas. So when I want to create that tutu and I want you to see that texture, that's when I use the rougher brushes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm really looking forward to this painting. Jessica, I want to thank you for suggesting this. And I want to thank all my subscribers. And here we go. We're going to get started.